Just a friendly reminder that the opinions expressed on this show are not worth a Canadian penny, so disregard anything you hear that might get anyone in trouble. And despite some of the great ideas you may hear, don't try them at home. Go to a friend's house instead.
It's time to get a gun. That's what I've been thinking. Well, I could afford one. And if I did just a little less drinking, time to put something between me and the sun. When the talking is over, it's time to get a gun.
Hello and welcome to Slam Fire Radio. This is episode 302 for May 2nd, 2019. I am one of your hosts, Adriel.
It's episode 302. I'm the other one, Trevor.
The other one, Trevor, that doesn't like me throwing the N's in there. And Kelly and Matthew aren't here today. McFly is out McFlying. And,
oh, that's funny. McFly. Was that always supposed to be part of the McFly joke? You were always making that connection? Or did you just put the emphasis on it now?
I just put the emphasis on it
Okay,
now.
good. Because I would have felt even dumber than... The hell was that?
I don't know.
Did you hear that?
No.
Huh, okay. All right, carry on.
This is a gun show, and we talk about guns and stuff.
Sure do.
And we also have a nice awkward start to it. What we did in guns this week is brought to you by the Calgary Shooting Center, Canada's premier firearms retailer. Presenting right now, they have the Calgary Shooting Center Special Projects Shop. I thought we talked about their Special Projects Shop, but maybe they got some other cool stuff. What do they got, Trevor?
I don't know. I don't have it open. Click on the link.
Oh, they have complete frame texturing for $250, and that's why I am the sponsored shooter from Calgary Shooting Center, and you're not, because I know this stuff.
Wait, actually, no. It's the other way around.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're the guy that's supposed to know about this stuff.
That's right.
Yeah, so they'll do like a cool Glock for you and like melt some little like panels in there so it makes it more grippy.
They actually have one of their guns. Wow, things are not working well at all. I can't get the show notes open. When I click on the little button, it says our products. Yeah, I can't get to the drive. Everything hates me. This is all karma for what I did this morning.
Yeah, that was some real evil stuff you did this morning, though.
I was left unsupervised, and it was a spur of the moment kind of thing. So I'm
You're
sure
gonna have
not
to let our listeners in on it because some of them don't follow us from Facebook and that kind of
right. Thing. Okay, so while rushing out the door this morning, I was putting the carton of eggs back into the refrigerator, and there was one egg in the carton and one boiled egg in a bowl at the bottom of the fridge that was going to be the wife's breakfast. And it occurred to me that it would be a great idea to swap those two eggs, and I did, and then ran out of the house.
It's so simple. No forethought put into this.
No, none.
Excellent.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, and
what
she
other,
didn't talk to me. So,
well, that's
what's going
every other day.
Oh, that's what's going on. I put a box of 45 ACPM on my keyboard. That's why things are acting strange.
It just keeps hitting space. The cursor just keeps moving.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So, what other non-egg / gun related hijinks did you get up to this week?
I went to the Miramichi last weekend and taught a NROI Level 1 RO course for the sport of IPSC on behalf of IPSC New Brunswick to 5 or 6 new candidates. Went really well, a lot of fun. There's one guy in the class who may be watching live right now whose ADD is off the hook. Crazy. It was like I was teaching in my classroom. I'm not even kidding. At one time, he got up in the middle of the class and started walking over while I was talking about stage construction to show me a Ben Stager video. I'm like, what? Stop. Is this like related to what we're doing? And he stops and goes, well, kind of. Anyway, so look at this. It was awesome. Oh, man. Yeah, no, it was excellent. I had to eat some crow. This was a sharp class, and they came prepared, and they knew their material. And me and another guy were debating the definition of a disappearing target. Mm-hmm. So any target that is visible before or after it's done moving is not a disappearing target. And he was talking about one of his props. All right. He's got a prop on the range that I had thought was a disappearing target because when it's done moving, you cannot see it. So we'd read the definition again, and the definition starts off with, if a part of the A is visible either before or after movement is complete, it will not be deemed a disappearing target. Yes, you agree with that? So here I am trying to explain it to him, but we were both in agreement, but arguing anyway. It was kind of ridiculous. I thought he didn't grasp the definition of a disappearing target, but it was me who didn't grasp how it applied to his prop. And anyway, Jason and I had other Trevor with me, and we're driving home, and all of a sudden it just dawns on me. So I started calling people, going, he was right. And then the ADD guy, we got into a conversation about radial tears, and again, we were both right. So radial tears don't count for score. So you can have an oblong hole on a target, and you can have a radial tear that kind of looks like a comet, right? So the bullet goes into a turning target, let's say, and it impacts the C and embeds into the A. It's where it embeds. That's where it's going to score. So even though it hit the C first, it stops in the A, it's an A. If it starts in the A and stops in the C, it's a C. And it kind of looks like a trail of a comet's tail, right? Starts to get small and tapers, or starts like the bullet hole and tapers off. But it starts small and gets big where the bullet ends. So that's one way of kind of talking about radial tears. But really, what he was talking about, and he's correct, if you think about an old World War II Corsair airplane with their radial engine. Well, radial engine, what do you think of when you think of a radial engine? Or what do you picture? The cylinders for the engine radiate around the crank of the engine, right? Radius, circle, radius, radial. So radial tears that spread out like little, how would you describe it?
On a windshield?
Yes, and that's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah, the bullet goes through the paper, and there are all these tiny little tears that go off that radiate out from the bullet hole in a circle. Well, any one of those tears touches the scoring line, doesn't count. So that's really a much better definition of a radial tear than what I was coming up with. But anyway, again, he was right, I was right, but we weren't agreeing on the definition of radius.
Yeah, that's
radial tear.
That's some lawyering, some range lawyering going on. Holy cow!
Welcome to IPSC, man. There's a lot of range.
Per rule 5.7.3, you only
Stop
get
it. No.
2 minutes to rectify the problem with your pistol.
Scoring is in chapter 9, but anyway.
I was talking about something else.
Oh, right. My bad. Sorry. And then Black Badge courses, people are continuing to register for those, and classes are filling up, and deadlines are kicking in. I'm having to tell people, no, sorry, that class, the registration deadline for that class has passed. Sorry, you'll have to find another one, etc. And then
they don't just fill up. They don't just like all fill up.
They don't all just fill up. That's true. But we also, the way we're doing the registration this year is there's a registration cutoff. 2 weeks before the classroom portion of the Black Badge course, registration closes, and that is to allow time for the instructor to order the pins, have them arrive, get the certificates prepared, have me send over all the student information, registration forms, stuff like that.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to have think you're teaching a class of 5 and then have 6 buddies all sign up last minute kind of a thing, and all of a sudden now you're in a rush to get all that stuff together, right?
Yeah, that would be no bueno for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah. And okay, so I've been shooting in Nova Scotia for a little while now, and indoor matches I shot one with pistol, and then the next 2 I shot with PCC, and the final match of the season was a level 3. So this was, I think, and someone can please correct me if I'm wrong, I think this was the first level 3 match in Canada to offer PCC as a division, and I won. Yeah.
There you go.
I thought if I had one, it was going to be a lot closer than it was. It was just about 4%, but not quite 4%. So second place was 96 point something of me. He was shooting a strong match. He had shot a strong match previously, and I was so hungover I couldn't see straight. So that's why things just didn't go well.
Seems like a common theme for your matches, shooting hungover.
Not at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Typically by that time I've got it shaken off and I've composed myself, but no.
Is 4% is that pretty close? Is that not very close? Is that a blowout?
It was not a blowout, no. But I mean, I've lost a match once by like 0.5%. That's close, right? It's a healthy margin, but I mean, it's not a blowout. It's nowhere near a blowout. Like, I was 100% in PCC and he was 96.
How many stages did you not take first in?
More.
That's the other way of looking at it, right?
About half.
Mm-hmm.
But I won like 3 or 4 short ones, and I won the most important field course of the match, and that's what helped me.
Yeah,
because in some of the other stages I was down a little bit. Now, what killed him was the mics, and he had mics due to a malfunction. He didn't have a red dot turned on or something like that. So if he had not have had that little snafu, he probably would have thumped me, because he ended up with 8 mics and I had 5 mics. So it would have been a lot closer than. I don't feel so good about it anymore, actually. I think about it now. I remember he had that little malfunction.
If not for that malfunction, he would have had you.
Probably. Damn. Regardless, I won the first level 3
Doesn't
match.
matter.
That
Doesn't matter.
Whether you win by an inch or you win by a mile, winning's winning. So
can't do the what ifs, right? Even when you win,
right.
No what ifs.
Yeah. So unless Derek Merriweather beats me, then I what if it to death. I mean, jeez, is he watching? No. Well, he'll hear that later, and I'll get an angry Facebook message, so that'll be good. I had a malfunction. I need to replace those Korean mags with proper Glock mags. I had a round pop straight up out of the mag, right? Untuned Philips.
You don't want him to do that.
No. And so I tapped and I racked and it wasn't helping. And so I had to do the roll. What's going on with you? Oh, yeah. So, and then the mag fell out of the gun, because again, those Korean mags, one of them is pinned quite tightly. It's like barely get 10 in. So I did my mag change on a closed bolt and it didn't seat. And actually, no, it wasn't a mag change, Adriel. It was 2 stages we were running hot. And so the RO's commands were, if you were finished, reload for the next stage. Yep. And I put the mag in like someone, what did I say last time? Someone with cerebral palsy or something. And anyway, it came like
pat, light pat on the bottom. There you go.
Yeah.
That's good enough, right?
Yeah. Instead of slapping it like a British nanny slaps a child, I give it a little light pat on the bum. Yeah. So what else did I do? Back to the notes. So that's all I did. Won a level 3. Now, for the listeners that whatever. Level 3 matches are sanctioned by IPSC World. And they are sanctioned by IPSC World to ensure that they are IPSC in its purest form. They have to have the stages approved. Everything has to be done by the book. And the other bonus to a level 3 is President's Medals. You can only get a President's Medal at a level 3 and higher. And I think at a 4 and 5, there may be an even cooler medal that you can get. So there's a caveat to that. They'll only award a President's Medal to a division that has 10 or more. And there were only 3 of us in PCC. Yeah. So there were only 3 of us in PCC, so I didn't get a President's Medal. And the one I feel the worst for was Captain Andy. I wasn't watching Captain Andy. I hadn't seen Tim Thomas shoot in a while, and he's turning into a machine. And I was watching him just burn it down. He was in a good place mentally, and his attitude was awesome. His stage plans were excellent. He corrected one of my stage plans, thank goodness. And he looked like he was on fire. I didn't even look at Captain Andy. I started watching him, and I thought, oh, this is Tim's match. Tim has this thing. He's got it all wrapped up. Never once did I pay any attention. Maybe I didn't RO him, Captain Andy. I don't know, because the way it was is you RO'd first, then you worked. You worked, then you RO'd. It worked really well. Oh, and if some guy died, that was a thing. Maybe we'll come back to that. But so Captain Andy didn't pay attention to how he was shooting, and lo and behold, he took it, and he finished 4th overall out of all the competitors. So he shot one of his best matches ever, won his first level 3, and unfortunately, there were only 8 in his division. So he shot a hell of a match, won level 3, no President's Medal. Sucks. And then his wife was kind enough to point out, Kim says, so Andy, if Muffin and Trevor had shot in Classic, would you have gotten a President's Medal? Well, yes, I would have. So, of course, I had to speak up and say, assuming you beat us. So, and he's beating me more frequently these days. Not really a fan, but anyway, that's all I did, I think.
Cool.
Maybe some, whatever. Carry on.
When you were mentioning someone shooting out their dot, it just reminded me that the last 3-gun match I was at, someone had the fiber come out of their front sight on their pistol Sorry, not the fiber. The whole front sight came off.
Oh, I had that.
They shot
Yes.
better. They shot better after that.
Oh man.
In the stage, he brought it up. He's like, "Oh man, my front sight's gone," and he started shooting, and it's all better than he'd been shooting the whole day. It must have been like he was concentrating on trying to line up this imaginary where the front sight was, and maybe like that part of his brain that was anticipating the shot stopped doing it because he like ran the rest of the stage fine.
Have you ever heard of target focus instead of front sight focus?
Oh yeah, it seemed to work for him. Yeah.
In 2017 at the IPSC Provincials, my front sight on my Tenfogu Limited Custom Extreme came off in the middle of a stage. I'm shooting, and all of a sudden there's no front sight, and I still had an array left, 2 steel, some paper, ting, ting, pop, 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 pop. I had all my hits. So what are you going to do? You're going to stop?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah. It kind of reminded me of the red dot off. Sometimes you can do it. Let's see here. Mostly what I did is I shot some long range 22. I went out to my parents' farm. I did some 22 shooting at 50, 100, 200, 300. This is the first time I've shot long range enough. And
Adriel.
where I got a whole bunch of wind. Yeah.
Adriel, I'm sorry, I have to interrupt. Is it creepy when listeners text you pictures of your face through their scope? So he's at home watching live right now and using me as dry fire practice, taking pictures of my face in his scope and texting it to me.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get your reps in.
I don't need to be like aimed at through his scope. And then he sends it to, I'm taking this as the threat. This is a threat. I feel threatened.
Report that to the RCMP.
I'm calling the New Brunswick CFO because he's a New Brunswicker.
It'll take a while. They'll have to fire up their boat. And
Ginger may have snapped. It's quite possible. Ginger's finally snapped.
Anyways, I was shooting some long range 22. And the wind effect on 22 at range is huge.
You think?
Oh, I never shoot in the wind. It's not that windy in Edmonton here. At Chaz, like we're kind of in a valley, so there's usually not that much wind there.
Yeah.
But holy, I was shooting at 300. The one day I had like 8 to 10 MOA holdover from wind.
Seems appropriate.
There's a ton of anyway. So I was shooting long range. The 300 was actually like I had a pretty big plate out at 300, like 200, 20 inches or something. At 200, we were shooting these little spinner paddles that are about 4 or 5 inches, and we're hitting those things. Like once you're dialed in, you can hit those things over and over and over again, even into the wind with a 4 MOA wind hold. So lots of fun shooting long range, a little bit frustrating in the wind and like wind changes and that kind of thing. I got some footage with my camcorder. I brought my action cam out there. I got some footage with that. I got enough with my camcorder where the battery died. So then at the 300, I wanted to get have you ever seen footage of target footage where the shooter is really far away and it takes a while, like you hear the snap and the hit of the steel, and then you hear the shot afterwards? It's kind of cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I put my phone out there to catch some footage of that happening at the steel target, and the wind shifted, and I put a bullet in my phone.
Did the phone survive?
No.
Gallon did. Gallon shot his phone with a 9mm, and it's still going. It's one of those really beefy phones with the like nubby little antenna on there. It's black and yellow.
I'm surprised about that.
Squire's got one too. But
no, a 22 LR will do some damage to a phone at 300. Yeah,
hilarious.
Yeah, the phone's like 2 years, not old enough to retire in this way, but right. I smoked it. Yeah, I smoked it good. I knew it as soon as I saw it too. I was watching through my scope. I pull the trigger and I saw it fall over, and I heard instead of the nice little ding. Of metal, I heard a thwack.
That's hilarious, dude.
But I got a Samsung S10, and these things will do just short of 1,000 frames a second at 720p. So I'm going to get some really sweet gun cycling footage using this guy.
Oh, cool.
Well, it was actually one of the things I was looking at was getting one of these just for that camera and just for that ability to get that slow motion, because it's really cool for diagnosing cycling issues with semi-autos. It's really cool for you want to convince someone that they're anticipating a shot with a pistol. You need really fast camera. This will do it. I'll be able to show someone dipping as they pull the trigger. Right.
Hey, this year's Ferlacci class, can we use that? Oh, wait, that's right.
Oh wait, we're not doing a Ferlacci class.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you to the Lacci part.
The Lacci. Gonna go flying instead.
Oh, that reminds me. The
soaring above the clouds. What kind of fun is that? Wouldn't you rather be like melting in Alberta underneath the sun? Come on.
And making the next generation of shooters more gooder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had to cancel our class this weekend too.
Oh, not enough shooters?
No, only 3 people signed up.
You got to do those out where there's like more people with more money, like Alberta.
Yep.
Yeah, because you'd be able to fill classes here
next year. We were going to be at the Calgary Shooting Center, for crying out loud. Like, it would have filled up in an hour.
Yep. Yeah, lots of people in Calgary. Lots of people, like we've been mentioning before as well, as there's more restricted shooters now, and they all need training because shooting a pistol's hard. It's not like a rifle where you can go put it on bags and be making hits at 500 after a little bit of calculation. You can't make hits at 50 with a pistol if you're brand new. It's hard, and the repeatability is there. And when you try pulling the trigger really fast, none of your shots go where you want them to go. Anyways, I'll stop ranting and raving here for a second. This weekend,
I'm getting pictures as we speak from my range. And all the damage from the snow this year. It's not good.
What do you mean damage from the snow?
Roofs collapsed on storage buildings, props. Yeah, sorry. Oh, God.
Yeah. Speaking about training the next generation of shooters, tomorrow I'm going to be doing the Mapleseed with Rick at Chaz. And then Saturday we're going to shoot a CRPS match, which I'm kind of ready for, but kind of not ready for. I don't have my drops like perfect for all the different ranges we're going to be shooting. So hopefully I can spot my hits or misses and adjust accordingly. On to upcoming events. Charity shoot. There's going to be the Podcasters Charity Shoot July 6th, 2019, put on by the CCFR Radio. The name charity is Big Country Anti-Violence Association. There's a goal of $10,000 to be used towards the emergency shelter for people fleeing abusive homes. There's going to be flapjack targets for rifle shooters at 25, 50, 100 to be shot standing, prone, or benched. There's going to be a know your limits drill on handguns, a 2 table start pistol courses, centerfire or rimfire. $45 for entry, registration at 9, safety brief at 9:30. There's going to be a link to Eventbrite. I'll throw in the show notes as well, where you can register.
What about walk-ons?
I'm not sure if there's going to be walk-ons or not. There may be enough interest to where we have to do pre-registration and prepayment, and that's it. I'm not sure.
Okay.
And I saw you ask that question, and I don't know the answer.
Okay.
Let's see here. Shooting's going to start at 10. Lunch is going to be available at the range, hosted by the charity. And there's going to be a dinner as well afterwards. So come on out to that. I'll post the link to that in.
And this is a semi-formal dinner, right?
I'm not wearing anything nice to this.
Are we going to take the Slamfire limo? I think it's going to be it's going to be baller. We have to show up.
I mean, if the helicopter's in the shop, we'll take the limo.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, right? I mean, depending on where it is, the helicopter's not always practical, and it's quite noisy and windy and stuff.
Your tails on your tucks, the tails on the back always flap.
No, I'm not doing tucks, but I mean, I'm gonna wear something Armani for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
anyway.
Hopefully they've got some presses out there so you can get it nice and crisp just before you show up.
I got a guy for that. Come on.
That's his problem, not yours. Yeah, right. That's the helps problem.
That's the helps problem.
Yes.
Here I am loading my own mags like a hobo. Come on.
Yeah.
There's also 45 this weekend. Look at these things.
Yeah.
The Woodstock match, first match of the year. Last year I did it too. I don't
Why?
think. Why not?
Major? Are you shooting?
Yeah,
major
I got a classic major gun, and so And I'm calling
I
Andy.
love Reloading 45. Reloading 45
It's
is
the
so
best.
good.
It's
Yeah.
the best. It's just an amazing little cartridge. I called it little. Yeah. No, Reloading 45 is awesome. Shooting 45 is awesome. What's not awesome is 8-round capacity in the mags.
And picking up brass off the ground or buying
you
it
have
is so
to.
expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas 9mm is like people practically give it away.
That's right. I don't bend over for 9mm. I don't even bend over for 40 anymore.
No, someone else can do that and clean it and put it in
Yeah.
a kitty litter box and ship it to me.
Yeah, it's called Buy Your Brass from Black Sheep Brass. Check them out on Instagram. I started reloading with their stuff. So it arrives cleaned and roll sized. There's no issues. There's no messing around.
What do you
Goes
mean
to
roll
the-
sized? What's roll sized?
Oh, what's roll sized? Instead of putting it through a die, it's actually resized using these plates that roll it. Yeah. Roll sizer. Google it, Susan.
Huh. And this is better. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Very consistent.
I find this very interesting. How's their pricing on 223 brass?
It's as good as anybody else's, maybe better. I don't remember off the top of my head, which is really messing up my plug. Why do you got to make me look like a fool in front of all the fans?
I'm looking at
Like
the
listeners,
numbers right now. Oh, they got 308 processed brass. Let's see. What's that go for? Show me some prices. 1,000 for $260. I have no idea what this should cost. 250 for $90. This seems good.
Yep.
I feel like 100 brass. No, they usually sell 308 in bags of 50, don't they? A bag of 50 will be like what, $45? Isn't it like close to a buck a brass for that stuff? New?
For which caliber?
308.
Maybe like if you're talking when you start getting over a buck a piece after tax and shipping, you're in Lapua Norma territory.
That stuff's fancy though.
Yeah,
that drilled pilot hole instead of the punched one or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. I kind of want to like live look up Hornady rifle. Yeah, Hornady cartridge cases are $50 for 50. They're $1 each. So for these guys to be selling this process stuff, yeah, it's once fired, but who cares? 250 pieces for $90. That's decent.
Mm-hmm. And it's I forget what the trim length is. It's trimmed a little shorter than max, so you'll get a couple of firings out of it before you have to knock it back. And it's consistently trimmed.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's important if you're crimping.
Mm-hmm.
If you're crimping and it's not consistent, you always get those mushroom ends there.
Yes,
where the shoulder's blown out and it looks like a gas seal on it.
Been that guy.
Everyone's been that guy. Everyone's done that.
And that's
anywho,
yeah.
Black
Sheep Brass, check them out.
Yeah, I might do that.
While you're following me on Instagram, go over and follow them on Instagram. Tell them Slamfire sent you.
Sweet. Oh geez, I gotta review 3-gun matches today. It's May the 2nd, isn't it? We've got the Medicine Hat 3-gun on May 4th. That's coming up this weekend. That's at the Medicine Hat Rifle and Revolver Club. Northwest 3-gun has a match at Morris Mountain, same day. Lakeland 3-gun has a match, also same day. BTSA Multigun has their match on the 5th. Chaz 3-gun will be on the 11th. Northwest is doing one at the Terrace Rod and Gun Club on the 19th. BTSA on the 19th. Peace River on the 25th. Fort St. John. Hey, look at that. They've got a match on June 1st. And then Lakeland 3-gun has one June 1st as well. Next up is the news. Oh, sorry. I almost forgot here. The charity shoot. There's going to be a Mapleseed along with that. And there's also going to be a Stop the Bleed course as well. Did you hear about that?
Gavin.
Yeah. I
Gavin
thought that
from over at the Canadian Patriot Podcast, he's teaching it's called Stop the Bleed. It's like a form of first aid. It's keep the red stuff inside so you stay alive.
we should see if we can attend that. I wouldn't mind learning how to stop people from bleeding.
Yep.
Seems like a relevant skill to have when you're at shooting ranges often and that kind of thing.
Yeah. And we'll probably have to do a topic one of these days on emergency action plans for ranges. There was somebody who died. I wasn't kidding. There was somebody who died at the match on Saturday. And it's really frustrating because we could not have done anything better. Everybody who had any skill sets sprung into action, and everything was done as quickly as it could have been done to get him emergency medical services. And it turned out that it was a kind of a really rare kind of heart attack. And so he didn't have the typical heart attack symptoms. He never talked about chest pain, the pressure where it feels like someone's sitting on their chest. There was nothing radiating to the jaw, to the arm. He never lost consciousness. He did start to actually show symptoms of low blood sugar, where you're starting to get a little aggressive, starting to get like confused, but that was a symptom of the heart attack. But because it was a rare kind of heart attack, we didn't recognize it for that. But it was his brain was kind of losing blood because the blood was pooling towards his heart. But the guys, I mean, the guys at AMA, they've got an AED on site, first aid on site. There was a paramedic on site. There were first responders on site. Me and the guy put him in a chair, and the second like he couldn't stand on his own and we had to lower him to a chair, another dude was calling 911, like boom, done. And they got there right away. It was just so stop the bleed is one thing, but you got to be aware of other things that could happen at your range. They had another guy shooting an outdoor match, and all of a sudden his pacemaker started going off. If you've never seen a pacemaker go off, it's pretty frightening because the guy is just like getting shocked, right? And his limbs are flailing a little bit, and it's a little scary if you don't know what's happening. So
we'll have to maybe a future show.
Yeah. So
it's a good one. News. There is a recall on WK-180C bolt carriers.
What's the problem? What are they doing?
I actually have seen a whole bunch of these. The back of the bolt carrier, where it's kind of thin, where the guide rods go through, that part is brittle and cracking. And cracking off little chunks.
What's the serial number range?
The serial number range. This is for anything produced from December 21st through April 30th. Serial number 949-18 to...
I got a -18.
You got a -18?
Yep.
Okay, is it after 949?
No.
Well, then you're fine.
Oh.
So it's 949-18 to 19CA 2246, which I guess is produced 2019, right? So if it's after 949 in 18 or before 2246 in 19, it is affected. Send your bolt carrier in, and they'll fix it or get you a new one and send it back or whatever. This is Kodiak Defense and Wolverine Supplies. I think you ship them into Kodiak Defense, though. They changed. They did like knit riding instead of a heat treat on the bolt carrier or something like that, and that just didn't work that great. So
I have a suggestion. If it was me, I wouldn't want to mail nothing. Here's a picture of my serial number. Send me a bolt, please.
Oh yeah, they might even do that.
Why do I got to mail you anything back? The gun needs.
Wait. Do you have to? Yeah, they want you to mail them in. Maybe they got to fit something. I don't know.
Maybe. You know what? If it's the carrier, they're stripping out stuff and putting stuff in, and
probably want to make sure it's working all right.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Cool. Well, if you got one of those, talk to those guys. And the other one, the other piece of news that we had, this one just came through today, just like an hour ago or so. Dennis R. Young put in an ATIP access, tried to get some information from the RCMP on how many times they've done an ATC for protection of life. So an ATC allows you to concealed carry a handgun. And they have done them.
And ironically, most of them are in Ontario.
No, they've only actually done one for protection of life. One. They're trying to stop it, saying like, oh, we can't do this because it's going to endanger the individuals who have this ATC. And it's like, I would give them one. It's like, dude, that could be anyone. Unless it's like does the prime minister have an ATC? Is he packing? I doubt it. He's got like people all around him, right? So
that's so interesting because I heard for years that there were a fair number of them out there.
Well, there are, for ATCs, there maybe there used to be. This is they advise that there is one ATC issued for the protection of life in Canada. So maybe there was more in the past.
Okay, well, hold on. Let's stop calling it for protection of life. There's ATC 1, 2, and 3. Which one is there's the open carry for armored guards and guards. There's the open carry for wilderness. So there's ATC 1, 2, and 3. Which number is the personal protection one?
I'm looking through the letter response, and I don't see. No. So the way that the RCMP are delivering this is protection of life, employment, wilderness protection, and then revoked since 2006. And the part they had blanked out was protection of life. So they sent that redacted. And then we finally found out there's one protection of life for all of Canada. So that's, yeah, they don't have a number associated with that, at least in this response. Anyways, yeah, so you need a pretty good excuse. This seems like it would be hard to trump this up and get an ATC for.
Now here, there's a website that says only 2 protection of life ATCs active Canada-wide.
How old? This is as of May 2nd. This is as of like today.
This is on a website called Regina Gun Safety and Licensing, and it's dated November 8th, 2018.
Okay, well, I mean, Dennis got this. There's November 18th, 2018 is when he filed his ATIP.
Yeah, it talks about the ATIP. Months ago, a friend of mine had submitted an access to information request seeking the number of active permits to carry for protection of life.
February, they couldn't get it because
it's dated October 22nd, 2018, the RCMP letter.
I bet you is there a number for ATIP? Sorry, not ATIP, for protection of life in there?
In the RCMP letter?
Yeah. Which it would seem odd because this is just from today, where the number of ATCs is actually given. I mean, it's a curiosity. I don't it's not really actionable. There's not really anything for our listeners or us to do about this. And
no. So from the time of the request to the time it was issued, perhaps they dropped one off. Maybe they canceled one.
I mean, you would think that they would have known about the number before and not reported on it since, but whatever. Yeah, there's very few ATCs out there. This is like Canada is basically the US equivalent of May issue, but May issue is like no. Basically no. You got to have some probably you have to have a really good excuse and some friends in high places to qualify for something like this.
Wow, listen to this. This is on the CBC. Who may carry handguns in Canada? Under the criminal code, handguns require an authorization to carry. The number of authorizations to carry issued averages, they don't even have the actual number, 8,169 per year. Most authorizations go to armed guards and people working in remote wilderness areas. What about private security staff?
Yeah, those two.
Does Justin Bieber's bodyguards in Canada get to carry guns? That would be protection of life.
I don't know.
Because they're concealed.
Well, it's their work, though. That's not protection of life. That's their work. That's their job. Their job is carrying guns and
protecting someone else, not yourself. Interesting.
Yeah. This shows February 20th, 2019, work need, 6,688. Animal threat, i.e. ATC, 224. Revoked 2006 to now, 10,618. So it looks closer to 7,000 ATCs, and most of them for work. And most of them in, like, Ontario's got about 2,500, Quebec's got 1,200 or so, Alberta's got 1,000, BC's got 700, Saskatchewan 300, that kind of thing. PEI 48.
There are 48 ATCs in PEI.
Mm-hmm.
How many in New Brunswick?
229. No animal threat. There's no animals threatening enough, in New Brunswick to carry for ATC.
So all the ones in New Brunswick are armored guards?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know one outfitter tried hard to get wilderness carry, and
no dice.
No.
All the wilderness ones are in BC, Alberta, Ontario a lot, but I guess there's Northern Ontario, right? A few in Saskatchewan and just like a couple in Manitoba and Nunavut. Yeah. Anywho, interesting stuff. Let's get on to some new gun stuff. True North Arms got in all the LAR mags, all the different kind of LAR mags. They've got 1030s, which are the 10 rounders that have a long body on them. So if you want to use them for competition and yank them out of a pouch or something like that, those are sweet. They've got the 1010s. They've got LAR mags for 760 by 39, and they got them for 308, which a few months ago were kind of hard to find, but it looks like we got all the retailers up and going with those as well. Bullseye Sports. I think this is new to Canada because I haven't really seen these before. They aren't a shotgun for me to even look at, but they got in the Commando P4. It looks like a Benelli M4 knockoff, like a Turkish Benelli M4. They're $850, and they look for the viewers on our YouTube live thingamabobber. They look like that.
They look like a Benelli.
Oh
M4.
yeah, they're. When I said a Benelli M4 knockoff, I'm not being taking that lightly. This is a Benelli M4 knockoff.
100%.
Straight up, yeah. But instead of being like, what's the M4? $2,000 somewhere around there. This is $850, quite a bit cheaper. I Run Guns has some fun lowers. I don't know. Did you take a look at the ones that they had?
They got what now?
They have some fun engraved lowers here. Let me share that one out,
Please.
Oh man, what did I?
Oh,
click?
that's funny.
Wait. They got the ATF on one side. They've got the RCMP on the other. They're not AR-15s. They're approval 15s. They have multi-forms. They've got some engraving on the safety that goes from no and no to maybe but no, and then yes but really no.
No, maybe, but that's funny.
Yeah, and they're going to have the RCMP guy on the other side. So kind of neat, and they're 60 US, so, they're fairly reasonably priced as well.
Poking the bear.
I love it, yeah. Listener feedback. We'll get to the YouTube version later. Listener feedback for regular listener feedback is sponsored by Armory DC Gunsmith. Armory DC Gunsmith is a full-service gunsmith who specializes in firearms refinishing. He offers hot bluing, parkerizing, and Cerakote finishes, as well as wood refinishing. Check out his online inventory of new and used guns, firearms, accessories, optics, and more at dcgunsmith.ca. Follow on Facebook and Instagram as well. This one from Kelly. I might have to wait until Rick is on to actually do that one, because it's a question for him as well. The next one here is from Anton. Hi, guys. Recent listener. Have attempted to conduct a search on your site to determine if you've ever reviewed the Beretta CX4 PCC. Can you advise, if you have, and if possible, where I might find it? Thanks. Oh, Tony. I've shot these before. I had one of these. You've seen them, right? They're the Beretta space gun that shoots.
Oh, yeah. They were on Battlestar Galactica. I've never owned one. I may have shot one. I didn't hate it.
They're neat. They're a real neat PCC. They're like they've got the spacey ergonomics on them and the spacey plastics and that kind of thing. So they look really cool. They feel really cool to shoot. Triggers heavy.
How is the manual of arms? Is it intuitive? Is it odd?
This is so long ago that my opinion would be invalid on that, because it's just long enough ago where I wouldn't have had the training I have. No, it's not an AR. I mean, if you want an AR PCC, you get an FX9, and you're off to the races.
Yeah, and they'd be about the same price as an FX9, aren't they? They're not ridiculous, are they?
No, but it's a Beretta.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fancy Italian thing, and the aesthetics of it, damn aesthetics.
Yeah,
it's very swoopy and cool. Where you might find them, they may not be selling as well because of all the other AR-ish PCCs that we have in country now, and cheaper PCCs. I know that they had to throw a longer barrel on them because the factory one was too short to be non-restricted here in Canada. So that might have impacted the cost. I'm not quite sure where you might find them. Check out CGN though, Tony, just because like the CGN Equipment Exchange is kind of the place to find these kind of things, right?
And although, Tony, we've never personally reviewed it, some of them may be painful to listen to, but if you go to YouTube, you will find reviews of this gun on YouTube.
This is one thing that YouTube does, is that they've got some gun reviews on there.
They do.
It's too bad there is not a decent other video platform out there for this kind of thing, though, because I've been following Tao Flatermouse has been having a super painful time trying to get his videos monetized. This is his job. His job is video and YouTube. That's it. I do it for fun, and because like they're some of the reviews I see they're awful. They don't have enough information, or like some of the ones that I've seen have been really bad.
Just get to the review, man. Or if you want to show me how to fix something on a gun or change something, can we get to it like right away? I don't want to hear about your life. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Like personally, the kind of review I want to see is the kind of review I produce. I shoot for like 5 seconds at the start, and then that's it. It's like you've seen people shoot guns before. Now what's interesting about it? And that's typically what I'll do, is the insides of it, the gory details. But some people don't like that. Some people, you want to watch a shooting video, there's some of those as well. Anyways.
It's amazing when people review a gun they've never shot. and they call it a
Oh
review.
yeah. Oh yeah. When they do that, or they clearly don't know what they're talking about, and they're talking about stuff. This is the only hunting rifle they've ever reviewed.
Yeah.
And now they're reviewing it as if they know stuff about it. Oh, this thing can shoot, 1 MOA, so therefore it's a great rifle. It's like, dude, they all do now.
Yeah, you got to
no
start.
longer the differentiator.
Yeah, that's right. You got to start somewhere. I get it,
yeah.
but if it's if you haven't fired it yet, full disclosure, don't call it a review. Haven't fired it. Initial impressions.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
and then you're going to hear a lot of feels good in the hand, which makes me want to hang myself.
Well, or people compare a pistol against a Glock, but then they don't really shoot Glocks, so they just say like, "Well, this feels better in the hand." It's like, yeah, it does, but does it make a difference?
Yeah, well, for some people it would, but yeah, like that's Matthew, right? He is a Glock shooter, has been a Glock shooter since day one. It's the only pistol he's shot primarily, in his training classes, in competition. So he gets his hands on the other polymer striker guns. He compares them to the Glock because it's the benchmark, and he has so much experience with the Glock. So makes sense for him to do it because he's got the Glock in his hand while he's doing it.
Yeah. Well, and I think comparing to a Glock makes sense because if you know what a Glock is like to shoot, makes a lot of sense because it is like one of those standards out there.
I have to get my CZ in his hands, and I will this weekend, but I won't be able to leave it with him, unfortunately. But I would love to see him do one of those reviews that he does of the Glock versus the CZ P10F.
Oh, yeah. Because that P10F is actually, like, the price is super competitive here in Canada.
Oh, yeah. Super competitive.
Like, Glock makes money here in Canada by pricing their stuff way more expensive than all the other ones. It's got, like, other than HK, is there a more expensive polymer striker fired pistol that's got less, like, more features or even less features?
Yeah, the Walther Q5 match.
Okay, but that's yeah.
So
like
the PPQ and the SFP9, the HK, when they hit the scene, Glock jacked their price up to match what those two guns were selling for, and I think they did it because they didn't want people to think that because it was less expensive, it was a lesser product.
But it is a lesser product.
For sure, right? But
like
you go to the gun store,
all the stuff in there. You look at like the slide lock on it, and it's like, man, this is a crappy little stamped piece of steel. It's fine. It does exactly what you want it to, but it's not like a ton of quality put into the parts.
Nope.
Anyways, I forgot. Yeah, Anton, you check out YouTube. I think that's what we were talking about there. If you want us to start talking about stuff entirely different than your email, send your email into slamfireradio@gmail.com. All right, for our main topic, welcome to the show, Rick. Rick's actually one floor down at my place on a different computer, and Rick is with Mapleseed and with CRPS, the Canadian Rimfire Precision Rifle Series.
Yeah,
Series. There we go.
There's so many of them out there.
Shooting 22s really far. That's the idea. Yeah.
Yeah. It's about as far as you can practically go. I think we've pushed the envelope now.
I was shooting 300 yards this weekend, and I can tell you I can hit a 4-inch by 2-inch target.
Nice. Look at you.
Yeah, once, and that was my cell phone, but
It always is. It always is.
Yeah, one of the interesting things, and I've been just I haven't really been paying a lot of attention, but I've been realizing it as you're coming out here. You are doing a remote Mapleseed. Usually, you guys drive across the country with kit in a trailer, and it's the trailer is packed to the gills with all this stuff. And there's a match that you're doing on Saturday as well. So you're doing both of these, and you're flying in. So this is blowing my mind with trying to do this kind of stuff.
It was pretty stressful. The last couple of weeks have been pretty stressful, but I think we're getting the hang of it. So we pioneered the remote Mapleseeds last year when I went out to BC and did a few, I think 7 events, just driving from Vancouver Island all the way into, I think I ended up in Edson was my last one.
Mhm.
So we did that, and we were just dropping stuff along the way and picking up stuff. So I think we got that. So we got these shoot boxes that are being mailed out now. I think you were the recipient of the first shoot box.
Mhm.
So that's basically a maple seed in a box for a shoot boss to everything they need to run a maple seed. So that's pretty good. I think without the internet, we wouldn't be able to do all of the stuff that we're doing. It's our organization. It's our rallying point and a good way to keep all of our information synchronized across everybody's brains too. So yeah.
Yeah, that's one interesting thing that I've seen with matches and match communication is lots of use of Facebook, lots of use of email as well.
Yeah.
That's been helping prep people and set the expectation on what's going to happen and that kind of thing.
Correct. And the YouTube videos also are very helpful. I don't know how many people know about the Mapleseed YouTube channel, but we spent, I guess, the first year kind of anytime a question would come up, well, let's put a video out and answer that question. So the channel's out there.
Yeah. Very good stuff. Yeah, I mean, for the CRPS match, you sent out 2 emails. I know there was one that you sent out that was really big.
Yeah.
Had the match book in there.
Yep.
That had a whole bunch of stuff, and going through the match book made me realize how unprepared I am for that match as well. And here's the part. Okay, so I got out this last weekend and I shot out to 300 yards, but am I sighting in at 50 yards or 50 meters? That makes a difference.
Yeah, it does.
I think it's 50 yards. And then I didn't shoot at 320. I didn't shoot at 280. I didn't shoot at 220. I didn't do any of that stuff in between. I did 300, 200, 150. Right. And I'm going to have...
You don't have to shoot the interim ranges. I think the key thing is to have a reasonable amount of confidence that your dope is on, right? Plus or minus, that your ballistic trajectory is at least confirmed at set distances. So CRPS is the hardest. I mean, it's not brand new, but there's not a lot of experienced shooters that you can draw from. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to apply a lot of the center fire PRS knowledge to the 22. But the issue with the 22 is that the ballistic coefficient changes by lot. That's the interesting thing. So Ely has a lot analyzer that they run batches through, so you can actually enter the batch number of your ammo, and it'll tell you what the BC is of that particular lot, which is interesting. So what works one day might not work the next day, depending on if it's a different box or not. So that's the other thing.
Yeah, I was using Strelok, and I couldn't figure out why my numbers weren't lining up to reality until today. I was looking at it, and I was trying to figure out, okay, it says this, but I needed that. And then I looked, and it's had the weather set for -14 Fahrenheit.
Okay.
Which was not the weather I was shooting in. And the humidity, everything else was wrong too. The humidity was wrong, and the pressure was wrong. And I punched those in, and now I'm getting very different numbers. And
there you go.
That 3 to 5 MOA difference at 300,
it's huge.
It's huge. It's a missed target.
Yeah. I guess so. So how did you start up before you got the course fire, and then kind of how did you approach planning for a CRPS match?
Well, I didn't have the course of fire before.
Okay.
I wanted to shoot long. So at 200, we had some of those spinner targets. The paddles are about yay big. We put those at 200, and with appropriate dope, we can hit. You can hit those every time, even in the wind. Like we had at 200, the one day it was like about a 4 MOA correction just from wind.
Yeah.
Which at 300 translated to about 6 to 8.
Yeah.
And then the other day it was a little bit more windy, and at 300 I had a 10 MOA hold, which in the scope looks massive.
Yeah, that's a way over there.
Yeah. It's like, I'm aiming over here, but the bullet's actually hitting over there.
It's funny. You're curving the bullet now.
I hope it's not.
Now you shot that prone.
Benched.
Okay.
Yeah, because I wanted the gun to be like, I know I can shoot from a variety of different positions. In 3-gun, we shoot a lot of VTAC, a lot of off the roof, a lot of weird stuff. So I'm okay with the positions more than I'm okay with, do I know the dope of my rifle? Do I know the correct dialing and that kind of thing, right? So
And that's what we recommend. I mean, so not everyone can shoot in different positions. Some ranges restrict you to bench shooting only. But if you can shoot from the prone and the bench, it's important to see if there is a difference, because the gun does get loaded differently. And if you're putting a bipod on and no bag, and different factors will cause that rifle to react differently. And your cheek rest and your cheek weld is different as well. So that's got an effect potentially. So it's important for people to understand. Again, this is the other end of CRPS. Most people would just say, come out and shoot. If you've never shot one before, bring your rifle, reliable ammo, understand roughly the concepts of ballistics, and listen to the people shooting ahead of you, or find a buddy, get a mentor.
Yeah, given that I haven't shot long range from anything other than the bench, you're not helping my confidence here, Rick. This is destroying my confidence.
but you'll be in with 90% of the people out there, right?
Yeah.
You'll be with 90% of the people, and that's the whole thing. Because this is arguably, it's in infancy, right? This is something new, and it's interesting. It's such, So I had to prep for an event. I had to load 100 rounds this week. I said, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I don't do this on a regular basis, because those hours, whereas with CRPS or our Outlaw series, it's, I'm just going to bring this box and stick it in the bag and I'm ready to go.
Yeah. So, that part's easier. But I don't know how my rifle's going to react to running it off a bipod. It should be fine. It's bedded. It's a heavy stock.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. It'll be solid. Yeah, it'll be solid.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So getting dope if you can at longer ranges is key to at least confidence, so and you can see what your zero is.
Yeah, the wind holdover was really interesting as well.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have my anemometer on the weekend, and I wish I had, because it would be really interesting to know, okay, this is what this wind feels like. This is what the anemometer measures, and therefore I need to, like, the program will have it, but to do it in real life is a bit of a confidence booster as well. And you might be able to know, in the instance of the wind picks up and you're shooting and the bullets aren't hitting the target, how much do you go?
Exactly.
Are you going to go a little bit? Are you going to go a lot? How many rounds are you going to need to finally make impact out there?
Yeah, that's it. That's the, and you've got 2 minutes to make all those decisions. And, they always say never miss the same way twice, right? So
just like randomly.
So if you're holding, if you miss, don't hold in the same spot, because, you're likely going to
try different stuff.
Try different something.
Try shooting with off one leg, and then
just something else. Just something
more
else.
Pressure, less pressure.
Yeah.
Load the bipod up. Don't load the bipod up.
Yeah, and you can go nuts, but at least there's a minimum amount of I guess variables you can play with there, because you got 2 minutes, right? You're likely going to stay within a certain variable.
Well, so. I have a 10-round mag. I had to buy a rifle for it, but I have a 10-round mag for this thing.
What are you shooting now? Are you taking the Norinco?
Yeah, I'm taking the Norinco out there. Yeah,
a Norinco won the Action Rifle Rimfire match at Mission last month.
Oh, really?
Overall, yeah.
Was it a 522?
I think it was a 522. Derek Lee, I think. I believe that's what he shot. If memory serves, so I'm a little lagged and travel tired. So.
Look, do you know how many Norinco pistols win IPSC matches?
0.
That's right. Trick question. They don't.
But
how many have actually used them in matches?
Plenty.
Lots.
Oh yeah.
Lots. Yeah. But it's more. I think with IPSC you need to. Is that the difference?
No, I'm actually kidding. I'm sure IPSC matches are won with Norinco pistols.
Not often. For the amount of them out there, not often.
I don't see many in our,
I think the other problem there is, Adriel, that people who are buying Norinco pistols may not have the budget to shoot IPSC. Some do. Some choose the Norinco just because, but I think Norinco is pretty much an entry-level pistol. But those MP29s, like yours, you tell me you wouldn't shoot that in a match, Adriel?
I did shoot it in a match.
There you go. Did you win? No. All right, moving on.
Did I?
No.
I may have a 3-gun match. I don't know. But that Norinco bolt action is pretty accurate.
Amazing. Yeah, it's
pretty
amazing.
accurate. Yeah.
How much work do you have to put into those to get it accurate?
Is
it good out of the box or some assembly required?
I did the trigger on it. Doing the trigger makes a really big difference, and having like a really nice crisp light trigger is really nice for long range, and where you need the gun to go boom every time you're thinking about it without moving too much.
Is it within the scope of a normal hobbyist?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So someone with some mechanical skill, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
bedded mine and I relieved the barrel channel, which is not super required. I put pillars in mine as well.
That's a little bit
Also
more involved.
not required,
Yeah.
but I just
While
wanted,
you're there. Yeah.
while I'm in there messing it up and putting peanut butter epoxy all over the inside of that thing, I might as well throw some curtain rod screws in there, right?
There you
I think
go.
is that what they're for? No, there's lamp. Those lamp screws.
Oh,
the
yeah.
hollow
Yeah.
screws there. You screw it into the wood, and then when your action screw, when you put it back on, you know when you're at it.
Yeah,
There's no
that's it.
compression of the
There's
wood.
no
It's
crush.
just it just crushes that
Stops.
steel and stops. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm trying to think of anything else I did. I did do a bit of polishing on the bolt, which anyone could do. It's a very overly tight action from the factory. You could just shoot it a bunch if you wanted to.
Is that like a metal polish, or fine sandpaper?
Metal polish. Yeah.
Okay.
Just very light stuff on it, just because it was rough. They were rough.
Just in case folks out there are trying to emulate the winning ways of
of turning the $200 Norinco. Those aren't $200 anymore, eh? They're selling for like $500.
Because people know their accuracy potential, or their accuracy, inherent accuracy in there.
If they were $500 today, I would probably get a CZ. I'd probably get a CZ instead.
Here's a question: so if you had that or a Savage Mark II varmint,
Norinco.
Yeah,
I would pick the Norinco over a Savage Mark II.
What would be why? I guess what would swing that vote? Just is it just a better action?
The action is super tight lockup, and the trigger is really great on it too. Okay. Yeah, the Savage Mark IIs have a nice trigger, but the action is not as tight as that Norinco.
Okay. Gotcha.
You can run the bolt side by side, and you'd be like, nope, that one's a pain in the butt to run, but it's super solid.
There you go. I mean, Savage Mark II is like the most popular rifle on the series.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
And I think like this is all theoretical accuracy, and it's not applicable accuracy. I think applicable is like shooting off a barricade, shooting off the ground. It's more the shooter than it is the equipment. Yeah. So I think the rifle, it wouldn't make no difference to me shooting a Mark II or a 522 or a CZ or an Anschutz. They're all going to give me the same result. It's more me. I think it's going to be me. Yeah.
It just feels like a better gun. Even the results are the same. You'd rather run the Norinco than the Savage.
Yeah. It's got a heavy stock. It's got a heavy barrel, heavy hammer forged barrel on it.
That one. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. That's what drew my attention. What is that rifle? It's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the barrel's cool. The whole thing, maybe not. Yeah. But I mean, it's going to be a fun day, I think.
Yeah.
It'll be a fun day.
So have you been doing any barricade practicing?
I do 3-gun. We do that every single time.
Oh yeah.
So
I
think I've
so
got
this should
that.
translate well.
Yeah. And now it's not a strong suit of mine. I think there's other shooters at my 3-gun club who do barricade and rifle better than I do. A lot better than I do. Yeah. So I could always use practice. One thing I did do is I watched some NRL 22 shoots on YouTube, and I saw different ways that people would brace up, and that was really interesting. There's a couple things that I picked out of there where it was like, oh yeah, bone on bone, and then the thing. Okay, I get it. That when you're shooting this way, you want to put your left foot forward instead of your right, because you'd want to do your right foot, but in fact you need your left. So there's a couple of things that were not intuitive that I'm glad I watched those videos. Now whether I put them in practice or not, without just with having the theory and not the actual practice, I may not be able to, but we'll find out.
I saw some interesting similar videos where I think the video premise was, how would you run that stage, where you'd play the stage and then you'd hear the commentary of what would you do, I think we had a couple of CRPS competitors, Kevin Needswitz and Donat Boulerais. They started up a podcast where they did a stage by stage review of how each of them shot the stage. It was interesting coming from the match director's perspective to hear how they approached it and how they what their strategy was.
Is this a podcast in Canada?
It's a French language podcast.
Oh man, I can't do that.
I think they were talking about doing an English version of an episode or two.
You know what we should do?
It was interesting.
we should record me shooting it, and then you can voice over all the ways I suck, and then we can put that up. Here, Adriel's trying to. Wow, this is gonna go terribly for him. Watch this.
I'm not sure how this is. I'm not sure what he's doing right now, but let's just watch.
Yeah, see, he's missing. He's dialing the wrong way right now. Yeah, he's actually going to miss again here.
We'll just have what mistakes did he made counter? Like, that would be fun.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun bit of content. I'd be able to do that.
Yeah. We can try and shoot some content tomorrow. I've got my I got my camera back from warranty repair. I've got one of those DJI Osmo Pockets. It's a handheld gimbal camera.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's about the size of a small flashlight.
Nice. I got a new phone camera too.
Nice.
So yeah, maybe we'll get some slow-mo or
Upgrade.
something like that. Yeah. You can't really use drones at Chaz because we got some like high voltage lines that drive by, and all the drones don't work. So
really, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's hard to do that kind of stuff. But it'd be cool to get some footage and kind of show people what it's about, because until you've seen a match, it's kind of hard to get the idea of it's just like long range 22. But once you see a match, it's like, oh, it's positional shooting. Yeah, it's positional shooting with a whole bunch of weird positions, bags, bipod, and stuff. And this is why, like, when you see PRS competitions, you start to figure out, oh, this is why they get the aluminum skeletonized stocks and all, and the adjustable this and adjustable that. It's for this kind of shooting, because like those are terrible to take hunting or something like that, and they don't really make that much of a difference off of a bench. But as soon as you start doing all sorts of weird positional stuff,
once you find that balance point, it just stays there.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got Mapleseed tomorrow.
Yes.
And we've got
it's going to be a cold one. It's going to be a windy one. It's a good thing we're only shooting 25 meters.
Oh, is it going to be windy tomorrow and on Saturday?
I heard 30 kilometer gusting of 47 kilometers tomorrow.
Woo!
Yeah.
That's
we'll be sheltered,
and then
hopefully.
eight on Saturday.
Nice.
I don't want to have to hold off a bunch. I'm not confident enough in my wind calls.
Nice. That's good. Is that it? Just 8 kilometers?
For Saturday yet.
Is that typically a steady wind at Chaz? It's not a twitchy.
No, it's not
really
super twitchy.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah, 8's not that bad anyways.
No, that's good.
8 with gusts at 12.
Okay.
But tomorrow's 32 with 48.
Yeah, we're gonna have to double staple things. That's gonna peel paper off backers, I think.
Cool. So you've probably seen a bunch of first time competitors. What am I going to disastrously mess up at my first match that I shouldn't do? Because I if you were coming to your first 3-gun match, I would tell you, hey, on your shotgun, you got to keep your face low. And if you don't, eventually you're going to start shooting. Your face is going to come high, and you're going to start missing over the target. So you tell me what the secret is on the Mapleseed thing that the newbies get wrong that I'm going to get wrong tomorrow that I can maybe correct first.
At Mapleseed, so it's always positional. So it's that flat platform hand. Because if you're gripping the stock,
Rick, I have to interrupt. Now I understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you?
I do. Okay. But I just want you to make it clear for the listeners.
Yes.
I want you to speak to the listeners, not that bastard co-host of mine with the highest score of any of us. Don't tell him nothing. He knows it all. I would like you to address this information to the listeners, because he already knows. It's not about us; it's about the listeners.
Perfect. Yeah.
Just please.
Yeah. If we go into the fundamentals, what is the core principle of what Mapleseed is wrapped around? It's about building a solid, stable, repeatable position, no matter what position you're shooting, whether it's standing, seated, kneeling, or prone. There's a checklist that we go through that leads to a stable, consistent position, and it's really just physics. It's managing recoil return, so that when the bullet fires, the direction of travel is straight back and then straight forward. That's it, without deviation. So the first thing we look at from a positional aspect is how are you interfacing with a rifle? From just if you put a rifle on a carriage or cannon on a carriage, right? When you fired it goes straight back. But if it's resting against a tree trunk and it fires, it could deflect. Right, so
I haven't shot enough cannons to
there you go. Well, maybe tomorrow. Maybe
fix
tomorrow.
yourself.
but again, so if you grab the forend of the rifle, I don't know what the flinch response is, and I don't know how much tension you're putting on or what twist you're putting on. But also, some people are using that grip to move the rifle onto the target, which is a no-no, right? That whole natural point of aim. And that's kind of one of the things. So if you have a flat hand where the rifle is just resting on it, then you can't be inducing any additional forces on it. So it's most likely to be it's more likely to be in a neutral state. And then it goes into the sling position, which is part of it, which pulls the rifle straight back into your shoulder pocket if you're using the sling correctly, right? So it's just transmitting the force straight back and then straight forward.
And if I just do the Mapleseed stuff at the CRPS thing, I'll win, right?
Correct. That
Okay.
Stage.
That's why you learn Mapleseed before PRS, man. They didn't come up with PRS, then Mapleseed. Come on. Fundamentals of marksmanship first, then apply it under tournament conditions.
There you go. Stage 1 is positional perfection. So it's a standing, kneeling prone
Kneeling.
stage.
Standing,
so
kneeling, prone.
we're engaging IPSC targets at 100, 200, and 300, but it's 1/3, 2/3 IPSC and a full IPSC at 1, 2, and 300 meters. So I think that's pretty.
Does IPSC know you're using their targets?
Maybe.
Have you paid some kind of sanctioning fee or gotten permission?
Probably.
Good
we
for
have people. We have people on top of that.
Oh, good, because otherwise you could get sued. Just saying.
That's true. So that's the rough thing of that. So that's the first thing you look for when you're walking the line, and then the second thing is trigger, slapping the trigger. It's the hardest thing to break, and it's the first one that people fall back into.
Well, I have a really light trigger, so it doesn't matter. I can slap away, and it's fine.
Go.
Slap it like a redheaded stepchild.
now, if you didn't slap it, you would probably got a 247 or 248.
Oh,
get a 247 and beat that guy
doing?
on Facebook that's bragging about his 246 against my crappy 244. Ugh.
Who's got a 246?
Some guy on Facebook got one this year.
Corey Johnson? Where's he from?
Woodview, Ontario. So that is Corey Johnson. That's where the Johnson Ranch is. We have 2 or 3 Mapleseeds there. Like we have 2 Mapleseeds there every year, typically.
I feel like he's been practicing.
He's been practicing.
Might have an area for that. Yeah, he did well. He didn't do it with. I'll pull us back to Kelly's email because she emailed in here. Hey, Adriel, Trevor, and Rick. Question for you all to discuss. What's more impressive? Corey scored a 247 on a Mapleseed MQT with his tricked out semi 22 at 1022, or Adriel, who scored a 244 with his Norinco bolt. Discuss. Or Trevor, forgetting everything we talked about and being the first ever rage quit. Thanks for the great show and good luck tomorrow at Chaz.
Okay, one.
Kelly's thanking us for the show, and she's going to be great.
Yeah, she's Kelly, man. One. How could I remember anything when it was like 1:30 in the morning and we were liquored to the eyeballs? 2, there was no instruction the next day. It was part of a bigger thing. So it was just get out there and do it. So there's nothing impressive about being the first to rage quit a Mapleseed that wasn't really a Mapleseed. So scratch that off the list.
Well, I guess in if we want to step back and look at it, it's the first rage quit ever. Only
the first time someone walked away from shooting 22s. They're like, nope.
Yeah. I've seen it on golf courses. I didn't think I'd see it in an MQT.
Well, now, what's more impressive? A guy shooting a tricked out 1022 and getting a 240, what was it, 6 or 7?
Yeah.
7, 247. So
for me, those
3
numbers.
That's 3 points off of perfect.
Yeah.
But it still is not as impressive as doing it with a bolt action. Doing it with a bolt action is hard enough, but doing it with a Norinco? Come on.
So there is. So I will give you that there is more at work when you have to get back on target and get your natural point of aim with a bolt, for sure.
Yeah, you got to reacquire it every time. What's easier than just laying on your gut and breathing?
But everyone does that. But not everyone gets a 246. So there's
Yeah. So Adriel's 246 is so much 244 is so much more impressive because he had to. So there's a time constraint of working the bolt. And then every time you work the bolt, you lose your natural point of aim. You have to reacquire it.
I mean, the only ones that
pressure
comes up on, the first standing one, because I had to do a mag change in addition to running the bolt. That one is a little bit tough. But the standing to sitting one is the hardest one to get your shots off with a bolt action.
55 seconds.
Yeah, that one's tough because basically, like with that one, I'm sitting down, I'm getting slung up, and I'm shooting and breathing and reloading. And that one was the only one where every single time I would finish, it would be like 3 seconds. And then that would be the beep.
So to the
line.
So the key thing here is if you want to be a great service rifle competitor, just do Mapleseeds all the time. You just hammer that. It's great for that.
Mm-hmm.
because you actually when you after if you do it enough, your natural alignment when you get on the line and address the target, you're already almost at natural point of aim, and the rest kind of just locks into place. It's beauty when it works.
Sweet. Great for shooting gophers too.
Great for shooting
Heck
gophers.
yeah.
Do a lot of that.
Yeah, so Mapleseed should be good. So it's flat hands, elbows under the rifle. Elbows under the rifle is huge, and trigger slapping. Those are the three that we always focus on.
Yeah, the elbows under the rifle wasn't something I started with before doing the maple seeds. I would kind of keep them out a little
Like
bit
a
to the
V.
side, a little bit more. Yeah,
Yeah,
just because it feels more natural.
It works with a sling. If you don't have a sling, it's different.
Mhm.
The sling is a key part of that tensioning device, and that elbow under the rifle is that fence post, right? Because primarily
the word though.
Yeah, it depends. It seems to work for people.
I like the fence post analogy. I've shot many a deer from a fence post as my rest. That's a super common thing out here in Alberta.
Yeah.
Just find a fence post, plop your rifle on there.
Standing up one, not a leaning tree, right? You wouldn't shoot off a leaning tree. So why would you shoot off a leaning elbow, right? Or leaning forearm. So those are the three. And you're going to see it. And interesting is as the day goes on, as people get more tired, you could just see it slowly creeping back to the first time they got on the line in the morning.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be exciting.
Awesome. Well, I think that was a nice meandering main topic that went all over the place, which is about on speed for our show. Did you just want to stick around while we wrap up here?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
All right. I think. Wait, Trevor, you don't have the YouTube open, do you?
I do.
Oh, you do?
I do.
Oh, could you pull us some questions and comments from there?
Yeah, for sure. So we got a hello. We got anybody home? Marcel Boudreau popped in and left like in 4 minutes. So that's Fusilier. He's the guy who posted the picture last week of the cardboard gopher that you put the clay pigeon in. Did you see these? They're laser cut in cardboard, and there's a little like base on them that you stake to the ground at your range, and they hold a clay pigeon. Where were you? Did you hear about these?
Those be great for our youth maple seeds.
Heck yeah. Anyway, he hooked my ass up. When I got to the match last weekend, there was a bag waiting for me with the match director, and there's a bunch of stuff in there and some little exploding targets to put in the middle. Like, I don't have gophers, Adriel, so this will get me by. Like, I'll take my 17 out, 0 out of 100, and I'll put these suckers all the way out to 300 and get my dope, figure out how high I have to hold and stuff. Because I've got, on my CZ, I've got a ballistic reticle, right? So I want to see what works. Jeremy says, evening. Nice maple seed shirt from Mark.
Apples.
Derek Merriweather wants to know, are you playing the reverse what ifs? And
we were.
Yeah, we were. Chris Nichols, match director from the Miramichi, awesome guy. He was in the RO class. He was the one that was trying to, like, he didn't have the time or the crayons to explain this whole disappearing target thing to me. Like, I just wasn't getting it. Glad to see she didn't put you down. He's talking in reference to the stunt I pulled on Christina this morning by swapping her hard-boiled egg for a raw egg. And Marcel was back. Brad B says, good evening. Jeremy V, I've got my week yesterday. Yay.
WK 180. He got his WK.
Oh, there you go. I got my WK yesterday. Stacy was bored. She misses Kelly. Kelly was out shopping, of course. Rick, this is from Brad from Halifax. He wanted to know if you would be coming to the Mapleseed in Halifax. I told him, unfortunately, you wouldn't be making it. And Doug, so this Doug guy, he posted on my Facebook. At first, I didn't know you. Then I knew you and didn't like you. Then I liked you. Then I didn't like you. Now I like you again. So that was kind of interesting. He says, just came back. Hi, Rick. See ya in Drum and the Hat. And then finally we got, I put my Tonka truck on the fence post and shot it. That's what you do with your toys. I shot all my G.I. Joes. Yeah.
Oh, man. I did too.
Yeah.
I completely ignored that memory, but I totally shot my G.I. Joes with the pellet gun. Mm-hmm.
Yep, me too. With a pellet gun in my backyard. I'm happy I was able to bring that repressed memory back for you, Adriel. I set them all up like they were in war, and then I sniped them. Set them all off. Yeah. All right. That's it for the YouTube's feedback.
Cool. Podcast reviews. We don't have any this week, but if you'd like to, head on over to the podcast app that you use and give us a review. The common one everyone talks about is iTunes, but we understand that iTunes sucks. So if you don't like iTunes, find another one that lets you review us on air.
Yes.
Shout outs, Trevor.
Well, to Fusilier, I just gave it to him there in the YouTubes. So thanks again for that stuff. I will get video and pictures and stuff when I get out and start playing with those cool targets.
Sweet. Rick, any shoutouts?
I can't think of any
All
right now.
Probably because you flew in from out east.
Yeah, it's been a crazy couple of days prepping for.
Yep.
A lot of short night.
Patreon. If you'd like to, head on over to patreon.com/Slamfire Radio and sign up over there. We will send you a patch. Someone emailed us a day or two ago or something like that, and they're an old listener and they've been supporting us for a while and they want the new patch. If you have been supporting us for a while and you want a copy of the new patch, email us and we'll send you one. For those of you who aren't supporting us, please support us. It helps pay for hosting and for the limo. The helicopter was a big part in Patreon.
The hourly rate on a helicopter is not cheap, folks.
No, and the things you don't think about are like repairs. You got to house it somewhere. You can't just like park it in your backyard.
I believe it's called a hangar.
Yeah, hangar. That's the house for the helicopter.
And when we're in there, we're hanging around the chopper
because
we be punny.
Correct. Yes. So sign up on Patreon and support us there, so we can buy helicopters, plural. And you also get a patch. And once in a while, we do Patreon specific episode.
Damn, we didn't do April, did we?
We'll do another one in May here.
I feel like we're not doing April's tonight, are we?
No.
We're gonna have to do 2 in May.
Yeah, that's cool. Or we can always do some special footage or something else for them. Something
that doesn't suck. Listen, we are
no
professional.
Promises.
No problem. No, I promise. We are a professional podcart, and we will get this right.
Awesome. Finally, you can also support the show by visiting our website and clicking on the links for Cabela's. If you are going to buy something from them anyways, and you click on that link, Cabela's like, "Oh, Slamfire sent us some business."
Did you actually shout out Bear Smith here for 303?
What? That was last week.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, I think it was last week. Did you update that?
Nope. Look at the date. My bad. Carry on.
Yeah. So if you want to help us out, and you don't want to do Patreon or are already doing Patreon, and you're going to buy something from Cabela's, go to our website, click on the little thing for Cabela's there, and then Cabela's will think that we sent them that business, and then they'll kick back like a little bit of extra cash back on the purchase back to us.
Yay.
Join our firearms associations such as the CCFR. Check us out on Gun Owners of Canada and like us on Facebook. See you all next week.
Good night. Say good night, Rick.
Good night, Rick.
So if you have any comments or questions for the show, please send an email to slamfireradio@gmail.com. Now go grab a gun and shoot something.
When the talking is over, it's time to get a gun.